Welcome to the Burrillville School Committee, October 16th, 2018, 6:30 p.m. regular session, Burrillville High School Media Center, 425 East Avenue, Harrisville, Rhode Island. Members present? All. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 2, recognition. Tonight, the recognition is for one of our own school committee members. He's a man who spent his entire professional career, starting in 1974-ish, in teaching and caring for our children. He then went on to spend much of his retirement years making sure our children continued to receive a good education and as a member of the school committee. We consider that to be a life well spent in the service of a community that he loves. Thank you from all whom your life's work has affected, children, parents, and colleagues. This plaque for John Mike Kamajian, with heartfelt gratitude for your years of service to the Burrillville School Department and the Burrillville School Committee. Let us think of education as the means of developing our greatest abilities, because in each of us there is a private hope and dream which, fulfilled, can be translated into benefit for everyone and greater strength for our nation. John F. Kennedy. Very much.
It was a labor of love for all the years.
Beach.
It was an honor and a privilege to serve with this committee. What we've accomplished in the last few years and the committee prior has just been amazing, and I was really happy and proud to be part of it. And I'm not usually a quitter, as they say, but when family has needs and they call, you go. And as I probably could have done back and forth, but that's not a committee member. School committee member is so much more than just attending meetings. A lot goes on in the background, a lot that the people don't know about, and you have to commit. And I know at the OJ trial when Johnny Cochran said, if the glove doesn't fit, you have to quit. I say, if I can't commit, then I have to quit. So it's with a heavy heart, but I had a lot of support, and it wasn't just me. It was a team and group effort. So I thank you very, very much for the privilege. I thank also, the voters who had faith in me to elect me this position, and I hope I did them proud. Thank you again.
Thank you.
It has been a pleasure, Mike. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Item 3, consent agenda. Approval of minutes, warrants, and invoices, bids.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the regular meeting dated September 11, 2018, the 2018-19 school warrant number 3 for the month of September dated October 16, 2018, for grand total expenditures of $2,493,248.69, and to award the bid for communication consultant services to Martin and Associates, Lincoln, Rhode Island, in an amount not to exceed $15,000.
Second.
A motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have one bid, right?
We did it.
Did the bid? Item 4, presentations by the public to the school committee. Could I have a motion to move item 1 from new business up to
So-
this?
so
item 4?
moved.
Second.
I have a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So tonight, the school committee would be discussing naming the Fieldhouse after George Duchamp. And I would like to have some committee discussion on this, if,
Make a motion to open?
Second?
motion to open. Thank you. Have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just bring up we had discussed this at one time, a few months back, and Dr. Pilata had communication between the Board of Administration and the school department, and I don't know what transpired, but I don't know what kind of, how we made out with what was going on. Evidently, it didn't happen, so we awarded definitely the educational part of Mr. Duchamp's glorious
I
life,
think we
which
were
we're
waiting for
proud
the
to do.
field house to look like a nice new jewel it
Yeah,
is.
yes. And so I'd like to thank Mr. Councilman Raymond Trank for his efforts in putting this together and actually getting it done. Thank you very much, Ray.
Mr. Trink?
Well, thank you, Mike, but this would have happened if Mike hadn't got it started. And, you know, things in government don't always happen immediately, and so this is, I think, a par for the course. We're on schedule. You have before you the information, but I think you need to know just one thing.
Ray, can I just ask you to speak into the mic, because folks who watch at home would like to hear what you have to say, and I appreciate that.
Ray Trank, 300 Centennial Street, Pasco. As I said, this got kicked off by Mike, and the government sometimes gets in its own way, but this time all cylinders are clicking, and it's an honor well worth it. But I think we only have to say one thing about George Duchamp, and that is in 1948, he was working this summer at the Stillwater Mill, and in the Stillwater News, which was their newsletter, they said, we want to wish Georgie good luck in his year at Burrillville High School. He's the biggest little big man in the entire town of Burrillville. And George went on to have one of the most successful years of any Burrillville athlete in the history of our school that year, with championships and captainships in 3 sports. And so back then, the adults in the community respected George just as much as we do today. So I'd like to thank you for taking this up.
Anyone else? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion.
So move, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Approve.
I have a motion and a second, further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, George.
I would like to thank you very, very much. And I guess I couldn't really expect too much difference when 3 of the members of the committee were my students. Raymond was also a student in garden football. And I put my 63 years in your system. I've loved every minute of it. And I think that this committee has done the best job of any school committee that I've been associated with in the last 67 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next item, public comment. Anyone wishing to speak this evening? Having none. Item 6, personnel, appointments, leaves of absence, retirements, resignations.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve or accept the retirement of Stephen Pickering physical education teacher at ATL on or before June 30th, 2020.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to also make a motion to approve the appointments for 2018-19 as they appear.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, I'd also like to request that we approve the leave of absences for Catherine Hauser, extended leave of absence 20 days without pay, returning on January 2nd, 2019. And Kelly Rogers, grade 5 teacher, Stair Farm Elementary, on or around 1/20/19 through April, with congratulations.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye. Mr. Chair, I'd also like to request that we approve the folks for Bella, 2018-19, Burrillville Middle School and High School as listed.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
I'd also like to make a motion that we approve the appointments, athletic appointments for 2018-19 as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
And I know there's a list of a couple others that we got this evening that's tangled up in my papers. Okay, thank you. Also like to ask that we approve the appointments for 2018-19 for Andrew Godfrey, Robotics Club, Burrillville High School volunteer, and Alexander Leprad, Robotics Club, Burrillville High School volunteer.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Next item, 7, old business, fiscal year 19 BSD budget update.
Motion open.
Second.
Motion open in a second. No one has any questions. I'll accept the motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Second?
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Fiscal year 19 rank budget update.
Motion open.
Second.
Motion open in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. If no one has any questions, I'll accept the motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Item 8, superintendent's report.
Thank you, Chair Brazard. Just a couple of items to mention this evening. I want to start with our first professional development day for this school year was held on October 9th. Teachers attended both a morning and an afternoon session. We had topics that included social and emotional learning, a CPR refresher. We had training in our new Eureka Math curriculum, CPR, AED, and first aid training, so thank you to the Harrisville Fire Department for that. Also had sessions on accountable talk, legal issues for teachers, Skyward training, conscious discipline, supporting transgender students, mindfulness, mindset in the classroom, and site visits to neighboring school districts. So it was a very busy day here on the 9th. The day went very well. Feedback has been largely positive. So a big thank you to Mrs. Mayu for organizing the day and coordinating all the workshops. There's a lot of work leading up to that. Next item, our first High Five Friday was held on October 12th. Members of our girls volleyball team visited Levy Elementary School as the children entered the building. Event was very well received. Our school resource officer, Bushman, organized the event, so thank you to him and the girls volleyball team. We have our next High Five Friday. This coming Friday will be at Stair Farm. It'll be the field hockey team. Moving on, we've applied for 3 Spock grants from the Rhode Island Foundation. These are grants that are up to $1,000 to use in classrooms. So we have grade 4 and grade 5 teachers that are eligible this year. We submitted 2 applications at Callahan and 1 at Stair Farm. And if awarded these grants, the funds will be used to purchase VEX robotics kits. And then the plan is hopefully to start a robotics club at each of the elementary schools if the grant is received.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We hope to hear about the deadline for that was earlier this week, so we hope to hear about that soon. And Burrillville High School, very happy to announce, was selected as a National Banner Unified Champion School by Special Olympics. We are one of only 5 Rhode Island schools chosen for this honor. And Dr. Whaley will be organizing a ceremony to formally announce this to the school community and to unveil the banner, which will more than likely be held in the gym or hung in the gym. Congratulations to all involved. The criteria for the awards from Special Olympics reads as follows. A Special Olympics Unified Champion School has an inclusive school climate and exudes a sense of collaboration, engagement, and respect for all members of the student body and staff. A Unified Champion School receiving national banner recognition is one that has demonstrated commitment to inclusion by meeting 10 national standards of excellence. These standards were developed by a national panel of leaders from Special Olympics and members of an educational community. So again, congratulations to our unified programs, our athletic program, and Burrillville High School for being named the National Banner Unified Champion School. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that October is National Principals Month. As you all know, we have wonderful principals here, several of which are here in the audience, so I want to thank them publicly for all they do every day for our staff and students here at Burrillville Schools. So that concludes my report. Be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Dr. Salito, when the banner ceremony date and time is finalized, can you just forward that to all of us?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anyone else have questions for Dr. Salito? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 9, administrators' reports.
Make a motion that we accept the administrative reports with thanks, barring any questions from the committee.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Alex?
Just a quick comment. This week is homecoming 2018, so I hope all kiddos at the high school and middle school, I think, is participating as well. So I hope they all participate in the dress-up days and attend the events at night. I am personally looking forward to Saturday. That's one of my favorite days of the year in town, so hope they all enjoy it.
Great, thank you. Anyone else?
I'd like to say a special thank you to all of our administrators, teachers, all our staff, our students, for such a wonderful opening, and the reports the things that were written into the report this month just tells me how hard and how wonderful our school system is. Thank you to all of you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Having none, we'll move on. Need a vote? Okay. Have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 10, reports of school committee subcommittees. Alex?
I just have two quick comments. The BPAC, the Burrillville Prevention Action Coalition, met 2 weeks ago. It was a well-attended meeting. We discussed new programs and initiatives for this upcoming school year. I think the most profound and meaningful program that we're getting started is a new internship. So I've been working alongside Julie and Monica, who helps head BPAC. This internship will be offered to either 1 or 2 juniors and seniors here at the high school. It'll be split up into 2 separate parts. The first part, it's 14 weeks altogether. The first 7 weeks, they'll be going out into the community, shadowing folks at Well One, the police department, fire department, maybe in some healthcare environments. And then the second half of the internship, the last 7 weeks, they will put together a project focused on something that interests them from what they saw through their shadowing. They will present this project at a BPAC meeting, and hopefully if it's a project that encompasses a plan, they'll be able to roll out that plan. Julie, anything I missed? So we're putting together the applications. Those will be put out at the high school next week, and then we'll get the ball rolling with accepting and going through those.
What a great program for the town. Very good. Thank you.
And I have one more.
Go ahead.
Sorry. And then the
Sorry.
Health and Wellness Subcommittee meeting for the district met this evening before this meeting at 5:30 in the cafeteria. That again was well attended. Made my heart very happy. We discussed Red Ribbon Week that's coming up at the elementary school level. We discussed some state level initiatives. We had a representative from the Rhode Island Healthy Schools Coalition, so she was able to debrief about some of those new programs. And we also heard from Shayna DiPetrillo, who was here at one of our last meetings about Chartwell's food service group. So again, a great meeting. I think it was another good kickoff for the year, start of the year.
Perfect. Great. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to item 11, correspondence communications. Anyone? Don?
I'd just like to say I did attend the open house for the high school, and there's a lot of enthusiasm with the Pathways program. The biomedical specifically was presented to me in a way that showed a lot of excitement for that program, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do as far as promotions of as we move forward with the new team that we're bringing on to help us with that. Because I'm getting a lot of questions about it, and I think it's something that we do want to highlight. And I was just happy to see the excitement, so.
That's a great option for our students and the community. And
Yeah, absolutely.
anyone else? I just have one item. I'd like to say congratulations to our concert band for having one of their own, Miss Marie Plouffe, selected to the All-National Honor Ensemble by the National Association for Music Education to perform in Orlando, Florida this November with others from around the country. So, great
Amazing.
job.
Great, that's amazing.
That is nice.
Having nothing else, we'll move on to item 12, new business. Approve homeschool applications.
Motion to approve as
Second.
presented.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item is Traffic Safety Committee. So, Dr. Slido, do you have something? on
Sure,
this?
I'll speak to that. So, have a draft proposal in front of you tonight regarding creation of a traffic safety committee at the district level. Committee would operate as a subcommittee of the school committee, of the Burrillville School Committee, with duties that include an annual review and approval of bus routes and addressing transportation issues related to safety as needed. The committee would meet a minimum of twice per year, and members of the committee would include a school committee member, would be the chair or as the chair of the committee, superintendent of schools or designee, school business manager or designee, chief of police or designee, transportation manager as assigned by the transportation company, the DPW director or designee, and then a liaison from the town council as assigned if deemed appropriate by the town council. And then additionally, ad hoc members could be added to the committee as an as-needed basis. The genesis of this traffic safety committee proposal was that earlier this year, we had a number of concerns and phone calls from people that had issues with bus routes and had some questions about those. We were able to address those. A big thanks to Robin for handling much of that. But a traffic safety committee, if it was is approved and enacted as operational, would be able to look at those routes and make sure there are safety issues, no safety issues with those bus routes. As it stands now, it's a lot of give and take in back and forth between district level and transportation manager, who's been fantastic to work with, but having an actual committee that would be representative of the entire town, including DPW and police, I think would add another layer in case we have a safety issue that needs to be addressed at that level. So again, it is just a draft proposal that's in front of you for your review and consideration.
I will make a motion to approve this traffic safety committee. I think this is a wonderful idea. It will help a lot of parents.
I'll second that.
I have a motion second, discussion?
Just a quick question.
Yes.
Do we think it would be beneficial to appoint like a backup school committee member, just in case for some reason you're not able to attend, Mark?
I was hoping, and I was going to ask on the discussion, that the school committee member, the chair or designee.
Yes, I think in this draft proposal where I put chair, I think the school committee member would chair that subcommittee. I think that's how I
Okay.
meant that parenthetically, not that the chair would automatically be the liaison.
Okay.
But I think, I think you're asking if there should be like
Like an
Appointment?
alternate?
An alternate,
that's the
yeah.
word, thank you.
An appointment with an alternate, is that the point?
I'll amend my motion to include that.
So the amendment would be to make it a school committee member appointed by the chair and an alternate? Is that correct?
That's kind of it, yep, that's good.
Okay. A second?
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Burrillville High School overnight field trip request.
Motion to approve?
Second?
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
William L. Callahan, Stair Farm Elementary overnight field trip request.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved lighting project and funding source. If we could hear from Mr. Robinson on this, from the podium, please. Thanks for that reminder, Donison. People
You're
don't like looking at their backs and they can't hear him.
Yeah.
Okay, on this project here, back in the spring of 2017, I had a lighting audit performed at all five schools. And after the lighting audit was complete, I sat down with Pasco Electric and the company Rise Engineering, who did the lighting audit, to sit down and see if there was any incentives from Pasco Utility that we could put towards the lighting project. During that meeting, Pasco Electric informed me that the State of Rhode Island Office of Energy Resources came to them, and they were looking for, asking them if there was any municipalities or big projects that was going on within the Pasco Utility District, and what I also discussed with the Pasco Utility and Rise in that meeting was all the different projects that we were doing this summer, all the boilers, the Austin T. Levy roof, all the HVAC projects. We had probably a little over $2 million worth of projects going on this summer that we're completing now. And the Office of Energy Resources approached PUD before this meeting, asking if they had any big projects out there that they'd be interested in, and also giving incentives to. So once we sat down and then discussed that, I had a meeting with the Office of Energy Resources, Pasco Utility, and myself, and we sat down and I explained all the different projects that we were doing with throughout the school district. And they were very excited to hear what we were doing and all of our energy savings that we were going to create. And they had me put together, all the energy that we were using up to these projects, and then what the savings would be in watts, over the course of the projects. And once they heard that, we did all the data, we did all the research from the engineers and the different vendors that we used. We put all the data together, and the Office of Energy Resources has a $100,000 grant that they gave us, or incentives. I don't know why I really want to call it a grant. And Pasco Utility also has $46,000. So after talking with them and with Rise and the different projects that we had, it was decided that the Office of Energy Resources and PUD wanted to take that $146,000 and put it towards 3 of our elementary schools. So there's $170,000. The $170,000 between the 3 schools would make all 3 schools 100% LED lighting, inside and outside, which is an annual savings of about $25,000 a year, which is our cost for this project. So our cost for this project is basically 14% of the total cost, which is an unbelievable savings for us. So that's basically how we came to these numbers, and for $23,794, we get $146,000 for free that are going to be put in towards the 3 schools. Have LED lighting, retrofit all new fixtures throughout all 3 elementary schools to be performed before December 31st. So our savings will be pretty much immediate. It'll take about 1 year to make up what we're what our cost is, and just in savings and energy, just on those 3 schools, never mind the rest of the projects that we did over the course of the summer. So it's a real good opportunity for us to, you know, pay 14% of a $170,000 project.
Nice job, thank you. Yes,
welcome.
thank you, Bill.
Yes.
Yeah,
Questions, Dennis?
if I could, just your experience or knowledge about the useful life of the replacement utilities, so the bulbs
Like
and
the bulbs themselves?
yeah, I mean, is there a comparison there?
I'm trying to remember, Don, what he said. It was,
Are the costs similar
over
now? You know, like, have they
it's
improved
actually
to the?
longer, Don. It's,
Yeah,
I believe over an 8-hour day, if you were an average an 8-hour day, the LED lighting lasts 10 years. Just the bulbs themselves, 10 years.
wow.
So
okay.
compared to what we're changing out in bulbs yearly, it's
Yeah.
an amazing an amazing savings. It's not just the energy savings, it's the maintenance savings. So the energy saving is $25,000, and they came up with the figure, I don't know if it's exactly right or not, about $14,000 a year just in maintenance savings.
Yeah,
So it's a great opportunity for
yeah,
us.
that's great.
And,
Thank you.
quite a bit of research went into it. My hat goes off to Pasco Utility and the Office of Energy Resources for even bringing this to the table to us.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have 2 questions. Does this entail the light fixtures themselves? Will you be doing wiring?
Yeah,
what-
as part of it, some of it will be, and the fixtures themselves, some of them are retrofit, where they can use the actual fixture,
Okay.
and then some of them will be total replacement. And depending on the condition of the wiring going to it, there'll be some wiring change, but for the most part, it's the fixtures and, either retrofitting the fixture or brand-new fixtures.
And when
that's
do you
inside and
think,
out.
when do you think this will be done? When, like,
You-
as far as
Oh, the
months
timing?
or
Oh,
part
no,
of
by
the day?
December 31st, and then everything
By
will be done.
December 31st, it'll be done.
Yeah, we want to, Pasco Utility wants to have the money use the money this year, the $46,000. They actually carried over a little bit of money that we didn't use last year, and so it added up to $46,000 on their end. And we want to have the projects completed by December 31st, and so we're going to have second shift crews to do it at night, not to disturb the kids during the
Thank you.
day.
Thank you.
This is absolutely amazing, Bill.
It is.
Very, very good work by you and your office, for sure.
Thank you very
Very
much.
excited about it. It's a great.
Yeah, I'm very excited
I
about
think
the
You're very
project.
excited about it as well, but thank you very much for your work on this.
You're welcome.
So we're gonna need a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
So we're
Second.
gonna need a motion to sign to allow Mr. Robinson to sign the memorandum of agreement for this.
I make a motion for that.
And I will second that.
Motion to second, any
Nice
discussion?
work, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks a lot, Bill, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next item, policy 7157.2, mobile device home use procedures, guidelines, revised first reading.
Motion to approve first reading of policy P7157.2, mobile device home use procedures / guidelines.
Second.
It's all right, it's no big deal anyway. Did I get a mo-
There's a motion and a second on the table.
All right, thank you.
Questions?
Discussion?
My concern is, what do we do when a device has been destroyed or lost? Do we get reimbursement for that, as far as the school goes? How is the school protected?
Thought there was a policy on that already.
It does say that
Parents
there
have to-
may be some legal things, but
Yeah, I think, and Justin can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think according to the policy that's in place right now, it's treated just like a textbook. So if it's damaged, they would be liable to pay for the replacement or damage.
Yeah,
machine.
it's a discipline issue at the school level. These happened at the high school, the middle school, and the devices are treated as kind of like that. The assistant principals, I think, figure out whether the damage was accidental or whether it was malicious, and they take it from there.
And could we take insurance out for them? Or have we already?
No, that's really hard to do. I would have a problem doing that, given that several of these devices are 3 years old and show 3 years worth of solid wear and tear. It would be hard, I think, to impress on a family that they would be responsible for something that they certainly didn't have a steady hand in doing.
Anyone else?
It's not like a brand new fresh device where you can track all usage on like one. These have been shared across buildings and grade levels and ages over the years.
So would parents be responsible for the cost as they are now? I mean, as they are
If I have
conditioned?
to put a brand new device into service, the cost is roughly $200. I can get replacement screens for $35, and it would take one of our technicians, 10 minutes to fix. So, I mean, we would piecemeal it that way.
So we'll charge parents or families that in order to fix it?
This is malicious damage that we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, I have had assistant principals ask me the cost of what it would take to replace a device, and I've told them, and they've carried through with the conversation with the family.
Justin, do we have an experience as to what the level of percentage of damage that we're incurring on these devices? Is there a number out there that you?
I don't have numbers obviously in front of me.
Yeah.
I asked my guys to tag a notes section within the device in the Google Management Console, so I can run kind of like an export into a spreadsheet and then do a search for like repair history. Keep in mind, we probably have 2,300 devices, and I mean, we are talking about like a less than 1%.
Yeah, well, that was kind of, I thought that was going to be the number. Yeah.
I mean, I don't like any damage, but in the grand scheme of things, it's very reasonable, and it's a credit to the schools, for taking as good care of them as they do.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
And I think students see getting to use a device like this in school as a privilege. So unless there's some circumstance where, like Justin said, there's malicious intent, I don't see them wanting to destroy their device where all their classmates. That's how it's treated right now.
There is some, I think, unintentional wear and tear on devices that have to be repaired, but that's just part of normal use.
Right.
Particularly with machines that are 3 years old and were not super expensive to begin with. So these are machines that our replacement cost is about $250, and they're 3 years into a cycle of life that a lot of them are. We're really faced with a couple of problems, and this is why I think the policy was revised. The first one is more and more students, particularly at the high school level, are asking to take the computers home rather than turn them in at the end of the day. And our existing policy says that is a disciplinary issue, that if they take it home because the policy was written that they turn it in at the end of the day, that they get a detention. So we have students that were doing the right thing and trying to get work done by taking a computer home, and by policy, we're supposed to give them detention. That was one issue, and then another issue with the existing policy was there was a training component that all parents had to go to a workshop before they signed off or the child was allowed to use a laptop. And that, when the policy was first devised, that was appropriate, but with the level of technology being where it is today, it's not really appropriate anymore. So that was taken out of the revised policy.
Okay, anyone else?
One more question. I did like the fact that you've put a filter on these as far as inappropriate places to...
It's in the plan to apply the filter. I've been working with Cox Communications over the past year to tweak some of that filtration from home. We've seen some negative impact on the devices with that when the devices are here on network. So we're trying to just work through that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions?
No.
Having none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Committee on agenda items.
I guess I'd just like to say thank you again. And it was, I'll be quiet.
We
don't have
we
to
wish to say
reply.
thank
You're
you.
welcome to
No,
speak
that's okay, we're
if you'd
done.
like.
We're done.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Kamarzan on his retirement and enjoy your family. I know that's what you plan on doing.
Thank
And
you.
to congratulate Mr. Duchamp, my English teacher when I was in high school.
You're saying very good things about your composition skills.
Yeah, it was one thing that I love to do is to write. And I can remember having class with Mr. Duchamp at the Callahan School when it was the high school. And because we needed an extra classroom, his classroom happened to be in the auditorium in the high school, at Callahan School. And I'm going to tell you, his classes were always very interesting and good class participation. It was very nice. I've always been very, very fond of Mr. Duchamp, the fact that he stayed in the system and worked his way up. And a lot of people that I have met have always said very, very nice things about Mr. George Duchamp.
Don, I was going to say the same thing. I think it's wonderful that almost everyone in this room probably has a memory with Mr. Duchamp, a very positive, happy memory.
Yes, indeed.
When I would jump off the bus at Sierra Farm and he would be there with his walkie-talkie and he'd say, "Good morning, Smiley," and I'd walk into school. So I think it just attests to how special of a human being he is. So thank you.
Mr. Trey?
Yeah, we didn't have time to bring a facsimile of the sign that will go up on the Fieldhouse, but we do have a cake that has exactly the right wording, so if we're going to stop by,
That's awesome.
piece of cake on the way out.
Great. On that note, anyone wishing to stay after for a piece of cake and a chat with the people we've recognized tonight, you're welcome to do so. As Ray said, it looks like he made the cake, and so you might have a finger or two in it. Just overlook that. Item 14, do you need anything? No. Pending issues. Levy rink construction project. We'll have an update on that.
Motion open.
He left.
Second.
Sure.
He's here. The locker room, the bathroom for the girls' locker room at the rink is, what we say, 95%. And it looks fabulous if anybody wants to come by and take a look at it. Chris has done a great job at it. We'll be ready and open for hockey season. So one of the positive factors that came out of it is, as you know, Chris does probably 90% of the work on it, and we were able to also utilize our new master electrician for the project, which probably saved us, I don't know, on labor rates between $2,000 and $2,500. Never mind all the labor rates that we would have had to pay if Chris wasn't doing the work. So it come out really good. If you can come by and take a look at it, I'd be very pleased.
Maybe next month we can have a grand opening.
Yeah, it looks really good. Just to add to that, we also had some of our students from our construction pathway that also helped with Mr. Lisi on that as well.
Oh, that's great.
Must have been fun.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Item 15.
Motion to adjourn, and I would like to add, please stay and have a piece of cake. Sylvia has brought a cake for Mr. Duchamp
And Mr. Kamajian.
and Mr. Kamarzan.
I'll second that. Sounds good.
All in favor?
Second.
Oh, wait.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Sorry.
Aye,
Aye.
There it is.
Oh my,
Look at that.
oh my goodness, that's